Welcome back to the My Latin Life podcast. Since 2014, My Latin Life has been your trusted guide to traveling and living in Latin America. Today, we have a repeat guest. We have Tim Stern back on the podcast. You may remember episode 146. Tim is building a crypto community as well as a bar in Isla Margarita, Venezuela. When we last talked to him, he was just setting up the bar. He was like putting on the last 2x4s and getting it all set up. So we're curious to hear where things are at. Tim, welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Vance. Thank you for having me again here on the podcast. Yeah, a lot happened a year and a half later. It's not only the bar now, we also have some posadas, and the construction site is already going. And the bar is a pretty famous little neat spot here on Margarita Island for all the tourists and visitors, and also the locals. They enjoyed. We had a lot of big concerts there and big parties, and just Venezuelan vibe, man. Everything's going good.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, so the roles are reversed. Last time I was in the studio, you were outside, literally like in the bar, beachfront. This time I'm actually recording on a balcony, beachfront. So excuse the maybe less than perfect audio. You seem to be in a perfect recording studio with the what's it called, like the styrofoam on the walls and everything.
Yeah. I have a big office here, and when I started to do more interviews and more podcasts for the CryptoCity, we had a lot of echo. So I bought the styrofoam and a nice little Razer microphone, and I hope you guys can enjoy my voice in clear audio.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. So I guess the Wi-Fi is pretty good in Venezuela still.
Yeah, I mean, my dad has the internet company, right? He came here in 1998, and he was having a hotel originally. And you guys remember it more than me. I mean, I was a little Pampers child back then, but around 2004 and 5, when all the emails came up, the electronic bookings, he was pretty annoyed because he had a really bad internet service. And that's when he started DataLink back then. And now we are having, I think, around 50,000 clients, 300 employees, and fiber optics on the whole island. I got a gigabit in my office. It's pretty cool.
Okay, so it's possible to start a business, a successful, big infrastructure type business in Venezuela, and the government doesn't take it away from you.
Especially right now, because last year in January, after we spoke, I think about half a year later, Margarita got declared a special economic zone, which is pretty interesting.
Really?
Yeah. And they sent a really cool guy over here to take over. He's called Samir Alatrach. He was a ambassador for the Saudis from Venezuela for many, many years. And now he got sent to Margarita Island to basically build the infrastructure for the special economic zone. And it gives a lot of benefits, actually. The next 5 years, tax-free completely. You can invest. You have special benefits on different zones of the island. And we got declared a special economic zone as well in CryptoCity. So we are like one of those zones now. And that means everything we do, basically, business-wise, the Germans and the Europeans which are coming, it's all tax-free for the next 5 years. And you also get some other benefits, accelerated confirmation processes, documents and whatever. It's pretty neat.
Okay, so is the whole island of Isla Margarita, I know it's like kind of technically multiple islands, but is all of Isla Margarita a special economic zone, or it has a couple small economic zones?
Actually, the whole
state throughout the islands.
The whole state, Nueva Esparta, several islands. And the island itself is separated into different zones. For example, in Pampata, you can do, I think, restaurant and food production. In Palama, you can do more software development. And in our zone, we can do construction and everything. It's separated in different zones, touristic, business-wise. And I think they just allowed finance transaction service as well, which would be really awesome, because remember what happened to Shanghai, when they made it special economic zone and they allowed all the banking systems or the banking transactions there. Obviously blew off, it blew up, not off, up. And I hope they are going to do this here as well. And we are also, well, basically the whole island is preparing for the return of tourism, and
Mm.
hotels are being sold like warm bread in the moment. I tried to buy several ones with my German group, and we were just too small, too slow. Structuring all the deal and getting all the investors together, and 2 weeks later, it's already sold. It's everything,
Wow.
man. Margarita is preparing to come back to the 90s when it was like a really awesome island.
And so, how do people know to prepare? Like, what indications are there that there's going to be a boom? Why do people expect a boom?
Return of the flights. Basically, we didn't had any touristic flights for, I don't know, 10 years. The only line or the only connection which still worked was Turkish Airlines via Caracas. We got the Russians back. We have a direct connection to Moscow now, which is pretty funny. We got
That's great.
Polish tourists back, direct connection from Warsaw,
Wow.
directly to the island, not even with Caracas. And a lot of other connections are being prepared in the moment. And I hope Germany is going to come back. That would be awesome for us. But in the moment, we're pretty
Right.
happy with the Polish one, just go to Warsaw and then directly to the island.
Right.
Because
Right.
back then with Turkish, you had to go to Istanbul, 3 hours in the incorrect direction, Istanbul, Caracas, and
Right.
Caracas, Margarita, which was like a 20-hour trip. And now with the Polish guys, it's like, I don't know, 9 hours and you're there.
Right. You take a little train to Warsaw,
Yeah, maybe like,
something
a
like that.
ICE or something like that.
How long is
Almost
the
like,
flight from Moscow to Isla Margarita? It's a long flight.
I don't know, never did it, but I guess around, I don't know, 12, 13 hours, 14 maybe,
Dude, that'd be
15.
like, wouldn't that be like one of the longest flights in the world? Like,
I
kind of
heard
up there.
rumors that we are gonna have a flight and catch that from Saudi Arabia to Margarita. Like, what the hell, This would be the longest flight ever. I think Koha, or is it called Doha? Koha? Somebody told me from the ground
Qatar.
services on the airport that they're planning to do a flight from there to Margarita, which would be what, 20 hours? I don't know, man.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I mean, okay, cool. And part of the reason I reached out to you to get another podcast going is I saw on Instagram basically that you've broken ground on the project. There's lots of photos of you like standing on top of a bulldozer with the shovel and all that type of stuff. So give us a little bit of update specifically on is it called Crypto City?
CryptoCity. Yeah. So basically, when we spoke last time, I think we just bought the land, something like that, and we were just starting to get permissions and everything. This is all done now. We cleaned the whole area. We had originally 12.8 hectares. We expanded now. We have 40 hectares now,
Wow.
um,
40,
including
40,
40, 40
40
hectares. Pretty
hectares.
big. It's
Damn.
huge.
Okay.
We didn't release it yet because we just paid the last quote for the extension land, and I didn't want to, ruin my own deal. Like speaking too early, and then you got problems with the seller and and they push out the deal, and then they want more, Venezuela. So we expanded to 40 hectares. We're gonna have a port with 212 berths for yachts. Berths, I think it's called in English, right?
Nah.
Spaces, yeah. In
Dude, that's
total,
sick.
yeah, it's gonna be awesome. We are just in the moment doing the renderings. They're gonna be done soon. We have a pretty nice structure. I think the podcast guys sadly cannot see it, but I'm gonna pull this up on little Telegram here. No, I cannot share my screen here, right? No, whatever. I'm gonna show it to you later.
No, but there'll be a link in the description,
Yeah.
all that good
We
stuff.
have a nice natural structure. Just next to our original lands, we had this thing called the Salina. A Salina is an area which in summer is underwater anyway, and in winter we never have winter, but in the winter months in Europe, it's basically dry, right? So what you do is you leave a strip of land 5 meters, and then you can dig for 6 months. Do all the walls and everything, and then you just destroy the last little piece of land, and then the ocean's gonna fly in. It's the cheapest way to do a marina, but you cannot do it anywhere unless you have the structure. And I don't know if it's a universe thing, but we never thought about a marina when we bought this. But after seeing this every day, being on the construction site, having it sitting in front of you, the idea kind of grow to do a marina and everything. And then we spoke to a
Hmm.
little to some official guys from the government, and happily they said it's a cool idea. We had a lot of luck because you have to get permissions and everything, but they were onto the idea to do like a luxury marina, to get all the sailors back, because Margarita was a really really famous island, especially to park
Sure.
your boats in the winter when you have the hurricane season, because Margarita is not in
Uh-huh.
the hurricane area. We
Right,
don't
right,
have
right,
hurricanes,
right.
and but this kind of died, and they liked the idea to do this. We got, um, I would say, verbal permission in the moment, but now we're doing all the project, the renderings and designing and da da da. And I think around in 2 or 3 months we should have official permit, and then we can start building the marina. Obviously, this is costly. We calculated the costs of around 6-7 million, and we're having a lot of talks in the moment for investors, and getting this thing up and running. It would be awesome, like a nice marina club, like a little Monaco there, basically. And,
Yeah, yeah.
that's what's happened in the moment, land wise. In CryptoCity, the original one, we already did all the earth movements. We moved 400,000 cubic meters of earth, which is around 700,000 tons. Calculated in cars, this would be around 450,000 little, cars, like Opel Corsas, which we
Of
moved in
trucks.
in kilo wise. And we did 10 terraces now. The highest point is 14.5 meters, and then every street goes down. It's like a little staircase, so you
Uh-huh.
can see the ocean. You don't want to see your neighbor's wall. You want to see the ocean, at least from your terrace on your roof. That's where we are. That's what we all did last year, and this is done now. And now we're gonna start construction. The walls, the tubings, the entrance, the streets. This is all what's happening this year. We are hoping to be done by the end of this year, so the first houses can start to be built.
Okay. Before we move on to the houses, so I'm just the marina's so dope. I love how you went from like like a little shipping excuse me, like a shipping container sized bar, just a little bar. And now we're talking like $7 million marina for 200 plus yachts. So it's incredible what you can make reality, turn vision into reality. Wow.
And this is only, I think, only possible in Latin America. I think when you try to do those things in Germany, without being, I don't know, the Schwartz brothers, with billions of dollars and connections to the highest people. I think stuff like that, when you are like a normal guy, is only possible in Latin America. I mean, only the permits in Germany would take 10 years, once we're in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
time you build all this shit here. But in Europe, it's so over regulated in the moment. And I don't know how you guys are in Canada, but Germany is really on a bad way, in my opinion. And I
Hmm.
mean, Latin America, man. You come here as a normal guy, and suddenly you speak to really important guys. It's pretty funny.
So you're gonna vote AFD?
What's AMD?
AFD?
AFD. Yeah, that's an interesting topic. Germany is really divided on that. I can't vote anymore anyway. I can't vote anymore because I
I was gonna say,
basically.
like, is your voter registration still active?
No, no, no. It ain't. It ain't. I left the country and I cut all ties on purpose because I know what's going to happen. Um,
Yeah.
the Germans are really divided on the subject, but in my opinion, AfD is just the central politic of the 90s. Basically, it's the same program which the CDU, which was the middle conservative party in Germany, did in the 90s, but suddenly now it's all right wing extremists. But even if, in my opinion, if they gain, I don't know, 60, 70%, which is not happening, they're going to get 20, 25, I guess. And then we're going to have the same leftist bullshit like we had already the last 20 years. But even if they win, I always say to my people, man, look, the damage is done. The economic damage is done. Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen. Mercedes is owned like, I don't know, half by the Chinese. Volkswagen is struggling. All the good quality we had back in the 90s is basically not existing anymore. All the investments have already happened, but outside China is growing. We have BRICS coming on. We have a war ranging around in Europe, which I'm not a big fan of, And I think if you have the possibility And if you have the brains, you should, I don't know, take your legs into your bag and get the fuck out of Europe. Because I think in the next 15,
Mm.
20 years, we're going to have a big downturn. And then it's time to come back, and invest again. But in the moment, it's all difficult. I think if the AFD wins, maybe the inevitable is going to be retracted a little bit. But in the end, it makes no difference. Europe has fallen. I mean, it's a hard take and it's all, badly painted and all depressive. But if you are living in the grounds in Germany, living the reality day by day, ooh, it's a hard thing.
I'm happy how
What's
you
your take?
answered that question and sort of like extrapolated back to the macro of Europe as a whole. No, I think you're doing the right thing, and what you said about how these things are only possible in Latin America is very true. I mean, you can make a lot more things happen in Latin America, right? So, are you going to get a boat? You're going to sell one Bitcoin, get a boat,
Of
100K?
course, I already have a boat, but
Do
it's
you?
not working in the moment. Just a little one.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I wanted a boat since I'm a little boy. I always wanted a little boat. I also only always wanted a Mustang when I was 7 years old playing Need for Speed Underground on PlayStation 1.
yeah,
And
yeah.
this is already happening, already happened. But I always wanted a nice, cool boat. And once the marina is done, obviously, that we're gonna explore, the whole of Venezuela, Latin America, sailing around. It's a dream.
This episode of the My Latin Life podcast is brought to you in part by job stacking. If you're a remote or hybrid worker looking to maximize your earning potential, then Rolf Haltze, author of Job Stacking, guarantees you'll be able to double your income by implementing his paycheck multiplication layering method. This is the exact system Rolf has used to take his own income and those of many others beyond $20K a month. With this method, Rolf contractually guarantees that you'll be able to double your income in 45 days. So, if you're interested in unleashing your earning potential and doubling your income, then click the link in the description and book a call with Rolf right now. Okay, good, good. I'm gonna start my skipper course this year and get a learn how to sail and everything. So hopefully by the time the marina's up and running, I'll be a boat owner or something. We'll see.
You have a boat? No.
No, dude, I'm trying to learn. I'm gonna like take the lessons, and um, it's on the it's one of the next
On the vision
stages of
board.
my sovereign plan, right?
Yeah, it's on the
So
vision board.
we'll see. Yeah, it's on the vision board. Yeah, it's a good term. Yeah, it's on the vision board. So back to your vision board for CryptoCity. Um, you said you basically dug up all the earth so far, but you haven't like laid any cement or anything like that.
We had a little how's it called in English? The first stone ceremony, lancing the first. How's it called when you
Yeah, yeah,
start?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we did that, and
Cornerstone.
we also we hid a little Bitcoin wallet under the first
Uh huh.
wall. It's like a time capsule, It's a paper wallet, which I only
Uh huh.
have the receiving address to, not the sending address. So I can send money there, I can send Bitcoin there, but I cannot like pick it up, especially or apart from like digging it up physically. That's a thing we already did. But apart from the first little wall, which we did to basically hold the whole terraces together, we didn't do anything yet. This is gonna happen now in the next, I don't know, 4 weeks. We're gonna start.
Okay. Awesome. And what does that look like? Like, just go into more detail. I mean, just yeah, it's very interesting to hear about.
Okay, so basically, you can imagine normally when you do a city project, as I've been told from our main engineer and everything. Normally, when you construct a little city, you take the piece of land you have and you model your project around it, right? You have these little mountains and you have some area like this and that. Normally, you take this existing piece of land and you model your project around it. What we did is basically the most expensive and most stupid thing to do. you take your a plot of land and you ignore every existing features of it and you model it exactly like wanted. That's the most expensive and the most longest thing you can do. But this is also the most nice thing because you're gonna have a perfectly staircase flat city basically in the end. That's what we did. Technically, I was asking myself like every day, how the hell do they do that? We have around 60, 70 people working there, with the lasers, and they're like measuring, and then they took like hundreds and hundreds of sticks, slamming it into the ground and marking it with like a little, like a Sharpie. And when I asked the guy, what are you doing there? And I said, yeah, this is the height, which is still, which still needs to be constructed here, right? So basically, what they do, we have a big, big, big mining site with 3 or 4 rippers, the big, 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 big machines, which basically take material, they load it
You have your
onto,
own mining site?
yeah, a little mining site, yeah, where we just mine material,
Right.
because
Like
we have
a
we have
quarry, basically.
12.8 hectares. I mean, it's 700,000 tons of material, which is 450,000 cars in weight wise. We didn't had a mining site, but then when we started to do all the terraces, we saw, oh Jesus, this material is not gonna, the plot we had was not enough because we
I was
needed
going
to
to say,
bring.
because you're on an island, right? Because that adds like an additional layer of complication. If there's materials that you have to get from the mainland, it's got to come over on a barge or something
No,
like
no.
that.
The thing we're just doing is just compacting earth in the moment. We need
Right.
earth, we need sand, we need stones.
Right. But then when you get onto like copper
Ah,
and
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, of course. This is all
bricks, or I
imported.
don't know, like
All
it's all
imported.
imported, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Margarita has basically no production whatsoever. They do a little bit of food, a little bit of cafe, a little bit of cacao, but that's it. We have the most modern malls. We have big, big, big shopping malls where you can get even until Rolex and Victoria's Secret and whatever, all the luxuries you want. They're there. We have the biggest clinics and whatever. It's all nice, but it's not coming from local production. So everything we need to import needs to be imported. What we have is cement. Obviously, you get stones. You crumble them down, and you make cement out of that with a little bit of sand, and yeah, you have like a little cement factory. We had a little bit of luck because around a kilometer from our site is the local cement factory. It's not working anymore, but we helped them out a little bit, to get it up and running again, and so we have direct supply of cement as much as we need. Also, we have a stone mine around 800 meters from ourselves, which we're going to need for all the port because you're going to need big stones, for the walls and everything.
Mm.
This is all there, but we were short of earth, basically, right? So we opened a little mining site. We bought a little plot of land with a little mountain, and basically this mountain is not existing anymore because we just ripped it off completely, and this is all now in our terraces. And basically, what they do, you get the material from the mine, you load it onto a truck. The truck brings it to the site and makes a little, just shoves it off there, gets back, gets and then you have thousands of those trucks. You have thousands of little mountains, and then
Uh-huh.
you have like 2 or 3 water trucks getting this the whole material a little bit of sloppy, a little bit of moisture inside of there, and then you have the big, big rolls, going over there and making it all flat. And later
Mm.
you have the vibrator coming and making this whole thing compact, and then the thing
Yeah.
goes. The how's it called? How's the big tube cylinder called in English? I don't know.
Bulldozer.
Yeah, but it's a bulldozer. Yeah, technically it's a bulldozer. Yeah, and then the bulldozer is something else. Whatever. Let's call it a bulldozer, and then it goes over there, and with 1,000 trucks, you elevated your ground around 2 centimeters. So you can imagine when you have to elevate by 2 meters, how many thousands of trucks you need, and that's what they do all day, or what we did last year. We had around 20 machines and 40 trucks running around the clock, and that's what we did last year.
And how many houses are you expected to build? And I imagine you're doing it like in stages.
Yeah.
Um,
In total, we have 300 plots, 300 houses.
300 houses. And
We
that's
had
on the
100
original
originally.
12 acres, or is that on the 40 acres?
No, the original 12 were 100. We had exactly 100, and now we have 300 with the expansion.
Okay. Okay.
Originally, we had 298, but I said to my architect, "Come on, man, I have ADHD. I cannot have 298 houses, please.
Yeah.
Please make it a round number, 300. Also, our state is called Nueva Esparta, which is the new
300.
Spartan, and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
film 300. I said I need it for marketing purposes. Please give me 300 plots. And then
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
shoves around a little bit in the design, and now in the end we have 300 people. Yeah,
That's pretty epic. And
it's a
is
funny thing.
the lead engineer that you've referenced a couple times, is he Venezuelan or German, or what's his vibe?
No, he's a Venezuelan guy, and I recommend, this is a gold nugget for everybody trying to do business in Latin America. Don't try it yourself, especially if you're a German potato or, I don't know, a Spanish one or whatever. Get a high class, well connected, proven track record local on board to help you out. Because when we spoke last time, um, it was just me and my dad, two Germans. We got screwed over so hardcore. Basically, I needed to file for rape, because, man, with everything you do, if you don't have a local representative, a local business partner, you can just take your project and throw it into the trash bin. Since we got our local guy is called Luis. Luis is, he built bridges in Caracas. He built hotels. He had sites with thousands of people back then. And this guy owned, I don't know, 4 or 5 planes and a lot of boats. And just because the situation in Venezuela turned so bad, I had the luck to even being able to afford him as a business partner, because he just played in another league, back in his days.
Mm.
Nowadays, he's managing everything. He knows exactly what's bullshit, what's not bullshit, what's the prices. Before we had him, I don't know. I think the Ministry of ecologic something, they send us bills for some fees which didn't even exist. They just made up random names, and send us bills of thousands of dollars, for all the documents and everything. And then once I had Lewis, he looked over all this bullshit and said, "Man, that's not even existing. What even is that? They just made it up." And yeah, since we have him, everything's fine. But if you want to do business in Venezuela, please have
Mm.
a good local business partner. If not, you're gonna be eaten.
Okay, cool. So get a local business partner. That definitely makes sense. If you don't mind me asking, so how would you recommend someone structure a deal like that with their lead engineer, local business partner? Is it like, I like salary plus rev share, or how do you like align
He's
the
only
incentives?
he's only having rev share. He was pretty expensive in my opinion. He has 25%, but in change, what we get is he's doing the whole part of construction. I mean, my dad is still there as well, having the little German eye as well. 99% he's doing awesome, but sometimes, you just need the last little touch, because in Venezuela, we had an example. We had our construction headquarters there, and we remodeled it, and then some electricians, they installed plugs, and the plugs were like on, I don't know, 87 degrees or 86 degrees, like that's not level, and then the commentary was, yeah, why? But it's working, I said, yeah, but when you're installing plugs, can't you just install them level? What a level, whatever. That's the last little thingy. But apart from that, he's managing everything. All the construction, all the materials, all the legal, all everything.
Wow. So that's quite a he would really have to believe in your project, your ability to raise capital, your
Yep.
ability to have the funding, what sounds like millions of dollars, um, to essentially work for free for a back end payout, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody from us works for free because 100% of what's sold is put directly into the construction. I mean, everybody of ourselves, we have other businesses. We don't live from that. I myself have 6 or 7 other income streams here. payday is gonna be in, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe. I don't know, maybe a little bit earlier. But in the moment, everything we sell basically goes 100% directly into the construction. Nobody gets a salary. Nobody has everything. In contrary, we pre-finance a lot of stuff. In the moment, for example, I'm doing a big marketing campaign, TV shows and whatever and blah. And this is all financed by myself in the moment, because our marketing budget, it's just not 500K in the moment. We need to invest everything we can into construction, so we finally have some streets to show, some walls, some entrance, whatever, to also raise the trust with the German investors. Because
Right.
yeah, we have 52 families now. That's true, and they all believe in the project. But in the moment, if you are a new investor, the first thing you see is basically a big plot of land with a little bit of earth moved. You cannot
Right.
transport the dimensions on video. It's just not working. It looks like the moon basically when you're there, but on video on your little phone, say, cool project, but I'm gonna wait until I actually see something. And this is the phase where we have to survive in the moment to, get there, to accelerate the whole selling process. I mean, 52 families is a pretty nice number, which we did this year in 2024. I visited 16 countries and gave talks, on different stages and everything. But now it's all about, getting some material actually constructed, and then it's gonna blow off.
This episode of the My Latin Life podcast is brought to you in part by Crema Social. Crema Social is like TikTok for international dating. It's an app you can download right now on your phone, and 3 out of 4 people on Crema are single women. The app was founded in Colombia, so unsurprisingly, there are a lot of Latinas on the app, by the way. So how does it work? Crema Social is a social meal experience where you invite a hot girl for a lunch date via video call and food delivery. New concept, so you'll have to try it out for yourself, but this is probably the best way to meet Latinas before you visit the country. So if you're in Latin America or planning to visit Latin America, download Crema Social now and start getting dates right away. There will be a link in the description to download, or just search Crema Social on your favorite app store. Have fun, guys. Okay. And is it all single family homes, big CryptoCity?
It's all villas around 150 to 250 square meters.
250 square meters. That's big. That's pretty big. So it's like a 4 bedroom house?
Yeah, around something like that. I mean, it's all entrepreneurs, Our whole group, you cannot just go there and buy. You actually have to apply. The group is gonna read basically your CV. It's not like a CV, but the group is gonna read what you did, what you did in your life. It's Vance, wife, 2 children, has a podcast, da da da. He also doesn't like the German politics, he's not a fan of this and that, da 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 da. And then the group is actually going to go, oh yeah, Vance looks like a cool guy. And I'm going to write my 5 cents to them as well. Hey, I was with Vance here 2 weeks on the island. Awesome guy, we spoke. I think he's a really great addition to our group. And then the group's going to vote. Once you're inside, you're going to vote also for your new neighbors.
Okay. So sell me on it. So how much do I have to put down as a deposit? And what are the quotas? What's the total cost for my villa?
Basically, in Margarita, if you do your own house model, we have 6 house models in the moment. What we try to achieve is that we basically have, 20 times the Villa 1, 20 times Villa 2, 20 times Villa 3, because then we can import a lot cheaper, Instead of ordering 30 windows, I can order 3,000 windows.
Yeah. Just do the design for me.
Exactly.
For sure.
The standard house models is going to be around $1,200 a square meter, not feet, meter. So you're going to be around 300 for the house, and the plots is 150 a square meter, the standard one. If you're going to the marina, it's another price. But for example, let's say you have 1,000 square meters, it's going to be 150, and your house depends on the size. But let's say you go with a smaller one for 150. then you're gonna land around 280, 290, and you have a
Okay.
nice little new house on the beach.
So it's like 300K for the land and the house,
Yes.
or okay.
Depends on the size of the house. If you have a small house, 150 square meters, it's going to be around 170K, which is obra blanca in Spanish, right? So floors in, all painted, doors in, but no furniture. This is your own
Uh-huh.
business. So
Fixtures.
170, 180 for the house, and let's say you have 1,000 square meter plot, it's going to be 150. But we also have 500 square meter plots. 500 square
Uh-huh.
meter plot is 75K, and a small house is 170. So the range is going to be small plot, small house, around 200, 250, and big
Uh-huh.
plot, big house, 350, even up until 400.
Okay, and the big ones are like on the marina or something,
No, the big
or
ones are
like
just big
oceanfront.
plots. Big
Yeah, yeah.
plots. The
Okay,
biggest one is 2,000 square meters. Pretty
cool.
big.
And are you putting a little like playground or park in the middle for the kids with some
Yeah, yeah,
slides and
yeah. We
stuff?
have a lot of community buildings. We have a supermarket. We have a shared office as well. Physiotherapy, a gym and massage and everything. Then we have the beach club. The beach club has also a playground for the children. Then you have the marina club, on the port actually,
Right,
and a
yacht
big
club.
360 degrees glass office there because I
Ooh.
love working with a view. And
Hmm.
basically, I put the idea into the group. Hey, group, what do you think about this and this and that? Because everything we do is basically voted. We have a rule system of around 40, 43 rules in the moment, which is all
Hmm.
voted by the group. Because only because I'm the founder, I don't want to have the scepter in my hand. The whole thing is designed as a Swiss democracy. The Swiss democracy where you can do voting for about everything.
Not
You know how
exactly,
Swiss
no.
democracy works? Basically,
No.
the people, they can contradict every law the government is imposing on the people. It's called a people's vote. So basically, what you do in Switzerland, if they don't want something, they just initiate a people's vote, and then they can veto against it. And also, if they want a new law, they can initiate a people's vote and push through a new law. And the system we adapted basically means if at least 66% of CryptoCity's people are voting, and at least 51% of people are saying yes, a new rule is imposed. For example, we voted about do we want to open the beach club for interesting business people, or do we want to open it for everybody, or do we want to only have it for ourselves? What kind of food do we want to offer? Do we want to grow our own food? Is a thing which just came up and won basically. So we're going to do our own food now. We're looking for 50, 60 hectares on the other side of the island. And employ some how's it called, people who grow food basically. And then we know exactly, okay, this is
Sure.
this and this and that. Another thing which won was the physiotherapy. We wanted to have our own
Hmm.
people there doing massages and trainers and everything.
Gotcha.
Security system.
So if I sign up, is it going to be like all German speakers and I'm going to feel a little bit left out? Or like what's the makeup of the investors?
Every German speaks English. That's not a problem. But we
Okay.
actually have a lot of different people. We have Germans, we have Italians, we have Netherlands, Czechoslovakia, Austrians, Swiss guys. I also have one Venezuelan, which is living in the States.
Cool.
So I would say the majority is German, but it's not only German. It's
Cool.
European, basically.
And obviously you accept crypto in form of payment, I'm sure. Do you
Of
accept like any
course.
crypto, or do they gotta like
I'm going to change it to
transfer to
USDT
stable
here, and in
coin
the
or
end, it's
whatever?
going to be cash, and that's how we pay the construction.
Uh-huh.
It's actually
And
the
it
only way to get a lot of money into Venezuela because if you try to pay with your German Volksbank and you want to send 300K to Latin America, they're not going to let you, believe me.
tell me about that actually. So how does someone how does the crypto to fiat conversion take place for you as the business owner to pay for all your building materials and stuff?
So basically, in Venezuela, you have this funny little situation that the official currency is basically useless, right? The bolivar. It's still being used, but I think last year, in 2023 in December, we had 9 bolivars per dollar, and now it's around 70 or something. It's slow inflation for Venezuela, but hyperinflation, everything. Basically, everybody uses dollars, right? So the
Right.
thing is, you can't really get a lot of dollars at the national banks or the local banks because they don't manage this kind of money. I think in the moment you can get $100 a day. So for a business owner, that's not really suitable. So this led to the birth of walking exchanges. Walking exchanges are guys which basically take any form of money you send them and give you any form of money you need. For example, if I have 10,000 USDTs, I send it to my change guy, and half an hour later, a little Opel Corsa drives up, and gives me 10,000 in cash.
What would they call that in Spanish there? Is it a cueva or how do they call it?
Tipo de cambio.
Tipo de cambio, like a change dude?
Yeah, change
Casa
dude.
de cambio?
A casa de
Tipo de
cambio, yeah. But they
Okay.
don't have like all the big offices and everything. It's just you have them whenever you need them. I have several of them, and they charge 1%, 2% depending on the volume. If you change a lot of money, it's gonna be a bit cheaper, and if
Okay.
you change a little bit, it's up until 3%.
And you send the tipo de cambio, you send him crypto?
Whatever I need, euro, dollar, crypto, Cele, PayPal, whatever I have.
And then what do you ask him for? Are you asking him for bolivares
Cash.
or are you asking for dollars?
I ask him for dollars cash because we need to pay our workers in dollars cash. Because a lot of them, they don't have accounts, bank accounts. A little guy doing a wall not necessarily has an account. So it's like back in the
Okay.
90s in Germany or in the 80s when you
Gotcha.
get the little.
So the construction workers don't want bolivares, they want dollars?
Most of them want dollars, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Because when you have dollars, it's more or less stable. If you have
Yeah.
bolívares and mañana el tasa va a cambiar, and if tomorrow the exchange rate changes, you lost 5%.
No, I hear you. I get it. It's crazy that they have that much dollars like ready to go on an island.
Yeah, basically, so the change guy, that's the next question they always ask me. Where the hell does the change guy get the dollars from, right? Because he
Yeah.
can't just call the Federal Reserve Bank in America, which
Right.
just sanctioned Venezuela again. Hey, can you send me $1 million? It's not going to happen. So in the morning, the guy goes to the supermarkets and gets all the cash. The supermarkets
Uh-huh.
need dollar transfer, right? Because they have to order stuff from outside, right? But this is done through dollar transferences. So in the morning, he gets the cash from the supermarkets and does a dollar transference for them. Then I call the guy and say, hey, I have crypto. I need cash. So now he has crypto and he gave me the cash. Half an hour later, another guy calls him and said, hey, I need crypto. I have euros in Europe. And then he sends him euros. And now, this is how it all works. It's like a little economy. And the
It's
guy now
crazy.
has, I don't know, 2 yachts.
Well, 1-2%
Yeah.
exchange fee sounds pretty low to me. I thought it'd be higher.
It was if you don't know what you do and you come here as a tourist, they charge you up until 10%.
Yeah.
But
But
if
you're
you're
doing
here
volume.
local and you did a lot of business together for years, it's I know what the exchange rates are.
Fair. That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
think 1-2% is fair.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and what crypto
That's
do
how
they
the
want
whole
most? Do they
Venezuela
want
works.
what do they want? Do they want Bitcoin or USDC or Tether? What do they want?
It's all USDT.
All Tether.
Whatever you send them, they change it in USDT anyway.
Okay.
USDT is the form of payment. I mean, you can even pay your gasoline with USDT. USDT, you can actually use it in supermarkets, in gas stations, in restaurants, and whatever. Everybody's using it because of the necessity, because you
Uh-huh.
don't have a lot of change money. If you're running around here with just $100 bill, it's basically like running around with no money. Because if you want to buy a bottle of water with $100 bill, nobody's going to be able to give you change. That's why everybody's accepting USDT.
Gotcha. USDT is Tether, right? Yeah.
Technically, you shouldn't use it to store a lot of money, but the Venezuelans don't give a shit.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So I guess the big tip is if someone actually comes to Isla de Margarita or Venezuela, just bring dollars and bring small denominations.
Yeah. $1 bills are like gold. You can even
Mm.
earn 3% on $1 bills. People are going to pay you to give them $1 bills. It's pretty funny.
Do they take euros there?
Yes, but one to the same exchange rate as dollar, so you lose 5%.
Right. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Well,
Pretty funny.
well, yeah. I mean, we only got a couple more minutes here. We got to wrap. Anything I kind of forgot to ask? I mean, this has been a fascinating discussion. I really feel like I learned a lot.
I mean, nothing exactly what you forgot to ask, but I would urge everybody who has like a desire to maybe to come to Venezuela and check it out, but is scared of security and scared of if I'm gonna get robbed and everything. It's all bogus. It's all not happening. Margarita, I swear to God, and you can hit me up for that. Margarita is safer now than some German cities, like Frankfurt, for example. In Margarita, you come down there, everybody is so chill, everything is so nice. People love seeing you, oh, Alemania, oh. You are in some escalator somewhere, and then you speak with somebody, and half an hour later, you're at his house eating soup with his grandmother. That's how Margarita works. And I would urge you to check it out. There's a lot of YouTube documentaries from me if you want to check it out. It's all in German, obviously, but it's subtitled. Just look for Margarita documentary, Kabel 1, no, Cable 1. We did several documentaries in Margarita about hotels, about beaches, about everything. It's just such a hidden diamond. And the most dangerous things here are sunburn and hangovers. So get the fuck in a plane and check it out, man. It's awesome.
I love it. Yeah, man. Looks like you've been really doing the rounds. I mean, I've been seeing all the photos, you with the suit on TV, successful businessman Tim Stern.
Yeah,
So congrats.
I gave 15 speeches last year in 12 different countries. Pretty funny. I never was a speech guy, but somehow it just happened, everything. And I never learned actually, professional communication or speaking on some big stages or something, but it's just happening, and everybody who comes here basically instantly buys an apartment. Because you can buy apartments. That's an important thing I forgot. I mean, one thing is CryptoCity, where we have luxury and entrepreneurs, and all people with cash. But you can get a decent, nice apartment, 100 square meters, not too far away from the city for like 20 grand. Fully equipped. Just turn your keys around and that's it. You don't pay electricity. You don't pay water. You don't pay gasoline. It's a fucking, paradise. Okay, we as extranjeros, we pay 50 cents, but the Venezuelans don't. Buy a condo, turn around your key, and if shit goes down in Europe, you have another place with another. That's what a lot of people do actually in the moment. Little condos. And then you have an awesome APR on your investment. If you buy a condo for 20 grand, you can rent it out for 400. That's
Yeah.
5K a year. That's
I'd be down.
25%.
I mean, is there a guy like that can manage this? Like some guy like, the
Of course.
20K condo turnkey guy?
Yeah. I even have a German now, Volker. He came to Margarita to check out CryptoCity, and he bought himself a big ass house, and now he just opened an agency. Isla for you. I'm happy about everybody who does
Bro,
business here.
intro me. I want to get this guy on the podcast. Hear about this
Yeah,
a little bit.
I'm
Okay,
gonna bring you
cool.
Volker. He's a great guy. He
All
was
right,
really
cool.
famous in Mallorca and had a lot of properties there. Just sold them all. But fuck that. I'm out of here.
Less squatters in
Yep.
Venezuela, hopefully.
Dangerous. You should check your inclinies. You should really not have the wrong people in your apartment because Venezuelan laws are pretty socialist laws. Especially if somebody gets a baby in there. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hmm.
So you should always check who you let in and should always have somebody here. What you say, a turnkey guy basically checking if everything's nice, doing some maintenance on the air cons, and then you're good.
Okay, cool. Any last words?
That's about it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. And I hope everybody writes Vance that he should check out Margarita to do another episode podcast here in Margarita.
Live. And where's the best place people can find you? Is it Instagram? Is it the website?
Instagram. Just Google Tim Stern and go to Instagram or LinkedIn or email. Or there's a shit ton of YouTube videos right now. We had just bought a TV station. We're gonna do a reality show of me, so you're gonna see me one time per week doing what I do all day.
Cool. That'd be really cool. Okay,
it's gonna be funny.
I'm excited. All right, cool. Well, let's wrap it up there. This has been another episode of the My Latin Life podcast. Again, our guest today, Tim Stern, CryptoCity. Link in the description to Tim's Instagram. And this has been another episode of the podcast. Did I already say that? Please subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to this. 2 episodes a week with amazing guests like Tim. You won't want to miss an episode. Ciao for now.